Honorable,
Oh, my Lord, blessed.
give thanks. Hey,
I
this
was,
year is my honorable elder, beloved elder, and a hero to me. Someone who is not a dictator to me, but is someone who dictates to us as youths through his example and his works and his levity. You see, so we are bringing the eye for talk on the topic of justice and healing, and we have an honorable elder Ross Wayne. Love every time.
Majestic, blessed love, my
I'll
Lord.
make the elder speak first, man. Go ahead, my Lord.
Yeah, man. Let the elder speak first on the topic of justice and healing.
Yeah, man, it's a joy. I love it. Even just to be on the platform and to speak or I truth, really. It's
Yes,
a
I.
moment in time, and I just blocked the sound to the Honorable Priest Kailash to say that there is on a mission and there I have to speak because there is chosen to do this work. And so even as I will sharpen that piece on the justice and healing initiative, it's really a calling to account I own people for their complicity in the atrocities against Rastafari. There I have spoken very eloquently about how the structures of the colonial system are today and how it remains and how people are kept from their sovereign self. But even those people have a responsibility to those who, as they correctly say, is giving an identity, have given an identity to not just Jamaica, but to a whole region, have given spiritual value, cultural value, have made Jamaica and the region cultural superpowers. Yes? Where everyone seeks to emulate the vernacular and something about I and I in the region, including Rastafari. Yet,
Yes, I.
even to today, our people are insensitive to the plight of those who stand as leaders to be respected, of those who have said, I am God in flesh, righteous in my liberty, of those who have given I and I so much, that the world has copied everything that I and I have given because they have recognized the righteousness in those gifts, the benefits of those gifts. Yet people are insensitive to the plight. And our governments have not quite accounted for the injustice. And this is why on what is called Emancipation Day, they could disrespect Rastafari again,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
showing that they have no value for I, and that I is still not quite sovereign because they can come after I very person, and people just turn the back of turn them back to it, turn away from it. And therefore, as Aina is in this space, Aina is working on bringing to account and calling for justice to those who are victors over the system of oppression, but have remained injured by virtue of being victimized. Right? And in that call, Aina is calling together and setting a platform where Aina can distill information to the family in platforms like there is one right here.
Yes,
Sharing the information so the family can learn. And the culmination of that sharing is both social, legal, political, but more so spiritual, because we're going to have all the ammunition of the public sphere to bring information to the people. And after the people know, have them call on the rest of their people by a wave of support for this initiative so that justice can be delivered. And ultimately, as they correctly say, my lord, justice literally means sovereignty for Rastafari. And sovereign people have sovereign spaces that they occupy and govern as
yes, I.
sovereign beings.
Yes, I.
So ultimately, the culmination of I work leads into the July 4th through July 23rd, 21 day of Nyabingi, celebrating 130 years of His Majesty's life. The leader who inspires I to goodness, the leader whose model I follow in righteousness. 13 decades after his birth, And is calling on our people first to reconcile with I, to heal with I from the injuries that they have perpetrated against Rastafari. And then we can look at those others, those other governments who have injured us, first offenders, if you will, and say, no, stand up and be counted for justice or a judgment. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So we're
True.
working on that, my lord, and
Yes,
working
sir.
very closely with the I love it, Honorable Priest Kailash, who can
Yes.
speak of the space, the planning and some of the initiatives
Yeah. Yes, sir.
that
Yes, sir.
this is going to take place. Because listen, you know, we have places in the world that are special, you know, and they have special moments. And I want to tell, if there are any St. Lucians on your platform right now, St. Lucia is a very special place. In
Yes,
the
sir.
annals of history, is a very, very special
Yes, sir.
place.
Yes, sir.
And its specialness is being called, it's being activated by Rastafari for 2022.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
sir.
not by accident that the Europeans call Dinkinish, the Ethiopian humanoid, the first woman that connects every single human being. It's not by accident that Dinkinish in the West is called Lucy, same Lucia, or Lucia, depending on the tongue you're using. So Lucy is here. We're going to be Lucia. And we're
Yes,
going to
sir.
call for justice and healing
Yes,
for our
right.
people.
Yes, sir.
And those who fail to deliver, and we're going to give them time, you know, because remember, in 8 years after 2022 will be the centenary of the crowning of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I and Meninasfa. So they
100.
may have our 8-year reprieve to deliver on the justice while healing is taking place. But if they fail, even in their very thought, in their heart and in their action, if they fail to deliver, Rastaman say, what a woe in a Babylon. So we pray, my Lord, that good people across the world will recognize that they too have a responsibility to lend a hand in every way they can, because all of us can be part of the salvation. And many of us are culpable in the injustice. So let us step up, yes, and do right. As the Rastaman said, do good. Naya Bingi. My
Yes.
Lord, Honorable Priest Kailash.
Honorable Priest Kailash.
Oh my Lord, give thanks, man.
Yes, sir. On the topic of justice and healing.
Well, true, give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. Give thanks for our worthy founder, you know, God and King Emmanuel Charles Edward, you know, the founder, the black dictator for human rights and justice, you know.
Yeah.
So give thanks definitely, because for years, you know, King Emmanuel was known as the man, like they say, the hard man for dead, you know, because even in the Coral Garden massacre, that was basically a
Them have a
repatriation.
song about him. We should talk about that in reggae music. Yeah, man, we have a song about His Majesty, about
Emmanuel.
Prince Charles Edwards, you know. Prince Emmanuel, you know. Yeah, hard man for dead, you know. That a
Hard
aura
man for dead, man.
history, you know. All right.
Yeah, man. So in that instance, the you know not the baton of the police. The police normally have some real hard baton, you know, like them things that don't break. You know, that breaking 3 pieces on the man head. You know, so they are deployed in a museum in Jamaica, you know. So at the end of the day, what the Rastafari family have actually gone through over the years, and being mindful that in many of our key institutions, like our universities, you know, our business places, public government, public offices, many of the heads of departments in many of these government offices are Rastafari people who are Rastafari, even man that goes to the Bingi house. And in our educational centers, our universities, our colleges, our schools, you have people of the Rastafari culture who actually are at the helm of many of these different institutions. And we're saying that as 1983 in Dominica, which is like a country next to St. Lucia, about, let's say, about a 40 minutes by plane, there was an act called the Dread Act that actually gave anyone any citizen the right, and that was passed in Parliament, you know. It gave any citizen with the right to kill any Rastaman that they see. You can imagine that anywhere you see a Rastaman, right?
Yeah.
To
Them never
Parliament,
have
like,
it. Them never have it in law, but it was passed down to the public in Jamaica through Sir Bustamante and all of them man with them call Sir, to kill them on sight. They never put it into law, but imagine the so-called head of your country is gonna say that now to the general public and send that out as a message. So it happened. It's an official thing. These things, and that's why I am happy the man they make songs about. You know?
give
Yes,
thanks, man.
because they can't
Rastafari.
go back and delete songs like so easy. They can't go back and delete songs so easy. They can burn up record and mash up computer and change up the internet, but it's not so easy to rub out a song. Not so easy. So we give thanks to the honorable prophet them who use them chanting as a way how to do proper record keeping for the future generation, you know. That's why we in record thing, you know. Our thing is about recording. You know? Otherwise, you're just a musician who channeling music for job. But getting into recording is a next thing. It's like you record humanity. Music is the way how you record humanity through music and poetry and rap and rhythm. That's how humanity is recorded. It's not through hieroglyphs and anything. Anything can rub out. But heartbeat can't rub out. So we give thanks to all the honorable sisters, all the honorable brethren, my personal brethren and sisters, who I know. You know, I don't want to start calling me because a lot of us globally who put with life and with music and everything on the line to make sure that the record is there. You know, give thanks.
Yeah, my lord. Give
Yes, I.
thanks. So I mean, definitely things like the dread act. You know, there were times when I mean, father, mother, and child were actually killed and left to decompose on the road. You know, so Saint Lucia never had the law, but they still had, as you said, the prime ministers and the government actually say these things. People say shoot on sight. So over the years, you know, Rastafari have, let's say, for the past half of a century, 50 years, we have been perfectly on track. We've been 50 years ahead in cannabis. I mean, they just decriminalized ganja in Jamaica. Come on. Rastafari have been saying that for over 70 something years. Right? So we're talking about carbon footprint, ecological living, and biodegradable plastics. Right? They just made plastics illegal in St. Lucia and everything have to be like biodegradable. They just did that in 2020. And Rastafari have been saying that 70 years ago. So when you talk about carbon footprint and gasoline and diesel engine and metal and you know and coming into clean energy, right? That is something that the Rastafari had been maintaining 70 years ago. And the system is just catching up. Right? So when we look at the whole aspect of even in the realms of what you call peace and love and justice and you know and eating plant-based and you know, and now you have alkaline, you have vegan, you have vegetarian, you have many different things. But there was a man that was killed, that was ridiculed, just because he wasn't eating flesh. Right? So we must historically and I mean, everything is just there written to show you that the Rasta man, whatever the Rastafari sung about, as you say, it was recorded. Peter Tosh said, legalize it, I will advertise it. You know, a long time ago. It's cure for cancer, cure for glaucoma, you know, and all them different things. That was sung long time ago, at least how many years? 40 years ago, at least. At least 40 years ago. Right, so then imagine that. Let us just suppose that ganja as just one entity was indeed decriminalized or legalized 40 years ago in Jamaica. Do you think that the University of the West Indies wouldn't have been the #1 scientific institution for the
In the
research
world.
of anything medical cannabis?
In the
Come
world.
on. Yeah, man.
And they stopped that. They literally, they deliberately stopped that. They didn't want it to happen, Honorable. And the Jamaican people are too naive to see these things. And it made the Rasta man feel pain because the Rasta man carry the burden of being the one who can see. You get me? Because you see this government and this thing where it literally set up to stop our people from actually living in the now and in the present. Now we living right now is 1975 in Jamaica. Yeah. No, how we are live is how Bob Marley them used to live. Like the mentality and the consciousness, the things that we know is like similar to what them man did know because they were so ahead. And if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't even know nothing. We would still be 1975, same way. You know what I mean? But right now in the future, you know, with their here and now, because our fathers do the whole thing for us. His Majesty has died, so tell them about His Majesty, Honorable.
Well, I mean, definitely, Honorable. This is what, when you say Rastafari, that's what, when you say you are Rastafari and I'm Rastafari, it's basically just calling I name after the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. You know, and when it is that you go through that persecution and tribulation, because remember, you know, Italy came, you know, Mussolini and a whole nation of people. Just imagine that you want to go and fight a little country. Look at how united people could be for a cause, and that's how united we need to be for this cause, for justice and healing, or judgment and heaping, because the whole nation of Italy, every single woman and child and man, to the extent that every married man and woman took out their golden ring and throw it into a furnace to burn, to raise finances to go and fight a defenseless nation, you know, a nation that have no fighter jets, no machine guns, no rockets, none of these things. So consciously, the entire consciousness of that whole piece of land, imagine the Pope Pius, the 11, praying and blessing the bombs and saying that we're going to destroy Ethiopia, and you know, and the people walking and marching and you know, and going and throwing all the gold. So if they put in the ring that represent their marriage in the fire, you could imagine what else they put already, right? So the whole nation of Italy was responsible for the invasion on Ethiopia, and they came in and sprayed mustard gas and stole the relics and killed like hundreds of Ethiopian Orthodox priests, and you know, and raped the women and did plenty of folly. 5 years, 5th of May to 5th of May, 5 years afterwards, after the emperor suffered his 5 bleeding wounds, he still came back into Ethiopia. And what was the message he delivered to the Ethiopians, to the Italians? He tell them they are free to stay and enjoy our culture and share the space with us, showing that the Almighty, only God can do that, you know? After somebody do these things, they're so in the depths of your
That's
heart.
what you call grace.
Yeah, my
Grace
lord.
and mercy.
Yeah, man. So,
yeah, man.
His Imperial Majesty is the Prince of Peace. That's why Rastafari always came with peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and
Because
love. So to the
we have
extent,
all right for coming forward in a war. You know? We have all the right, you know. The same right as the Israeli, you know. We have the same right as the Israeli. We have the same right as all the people in the world who claim say that they never get no justice. So we're gonna bomb our next place. We have all the right, man. So when we forward in peace, they must always remember that divine grace and mercy and love, unconditional love. One
yeah, man.
person.
Yeah, well, I know that, you know that, because remember, you know, the emperor shoot down plane and thing, you know, like shoot down plane and put his feet on the bomb, you know, and so imagine if you have like landmines. When people going through landmines, is robots and dogs and you know, and the emperor came, you know, and when I was reading the historian's thing on it, And while everybody was so careful and how the emperor just casually just walk and put his feet on the bomb. Remember that picture? Where when the emperor, imagine a warhead fall from a plane. Did not explode. What people do when they see them things, people must be afraid because I can explode anytime. So how casually the god of war walked towards that and put his feet on it and took a photograph. Right? So it is not that as Rastafari that we are avert to war, but our essence is peace and love.
Yeah.
To the extent that if it is that anybody in the public do you anything and then you say, and then if brother Jama or Prophet Jama come on there and say, well, me not like that, and start to curse up and say something. Say, but man, you are Rasta man and you cursing. You Rasta man, you're not supposed to do that. So Rastafari has become the standard for righteousness. So a Catholic could do anything, a Pentecostal can do anything, and an Adventist can do anything. But as a Rasta man, you can't curse. You can't drink rum. You can't smoke cigarette. You're not supposed to, you're not supposed to get upset.
Yeah.
So the Rastafari have, in society now, we have become like the standards, the standard bearer for righteousness. And I give thanks. So the Justice and Healing Initiative is to basically, deal with the traumas. And this is not something that we just started because the little princess hair was cut, That came out of the Rising of the Gods retreat we had in St. Lucia. So this is just like telling the people, you see what we're talking about. When we tell you all that the Rastafari locks was cut with cutlass and rusty old saws, you all think it's lie we're speaking. So the Creator, actually allowed that manifestation whereby some evil person in this day and age could see a little princess, 19 years, 3 generations of Rastafari. Somebody that born and their locks never cut before. Right? Somebody their mother is Rasta. Somebody probably their grandfather is Rasta. Right? And then you actually taking that off that person. So we're talking about elders who actually went to the hospital with beard that they actually kept for 50 years. I'm talking about 50-year-long beard. They have been growing that beard for 50 years. And they go for something, and for some reason, the nurse decide that beard, they shave up the beard that the Rastafari have kept for 50 years. And that elder Rasta man would cry every single day because he never sees his face ball. He's not accustomed to that. So every time he goes into the mirror, it's trauma. So that alone led to the death of this elder. So we are talking about mothers who actually bought I was speaking to this elder, and the elder said she brought her 2-year-old child to the hospital because the child has been vomiting for 3 days. And a 2-year-old child, remember, man, I have children, and I have a 2-year-old son now, and I know what it feels like to hug my son and feel his warmth, Right? So I know what it's like when my son say, Dada, and, say something new, and probably, say, I want to pee, or I want to free up, and then you full joy in that moment of that life, and you are celebrating that life. And a sick child is nothing that any parent can actually bear. When a child is suffering, when your child is in pain, the amount of pain that a parent goes through is, come on, man. I'm a physician, and I telling you that you have to be strong to hold your grounds and maintain a particular path. So when the elder saw 3 days of persistent vomiting, she brought the child to the doctor. That's in 1990 in St. Lucia. And the doctor says, the child is all right. She said, but no, I have had 11 children. I know when a child is good, when a child is not good. Check the child. He tell her then, so what, you don't believe in Jah provide? Right? And to the extent that he never even placed a stethoscope on the child. He never examined the child. He sent back the woman to her home. The following night, the child fell sick again. But by that time, when the child got to the hospital, the child had passed to the ancestors. So You could imagine that. That the trauma that was laid onto Rastafari people, for just having a dreadlocks, for just saying Africa, for just saying, well, they don't want to ride on van, they rather just walk, on trad, go on a trad.
Yeah.
Right? Or they rather get a horse or get a donkey. So for that, which is what the world is embracing now, The world is embracing that. If you have 5 acres of land, get a horse. I mean, if you come to my property and you see I have a horse and carriage, and you could sit down and you could probably ride 40 minutes that side and you have to start an engine, you'll feel good. So you praise my Lord, give thanks, So the world is embracing that. What a Rastafari was killed for and ridiculed for before. And the worst thing is that there have never been no public inquiry to say, well, in Jamaica, you're going to inquire about Bakawal, where they came and just burned down the whole camp. You understand? And talk about Bon Jimmy raid in St. Lucia. Have an inquiry. Then have atonement. Because every single home have a Rastafari,
Every family.
Every family.
Every family have a Rasta in it. Every single family have Rastafari. In this country, every family. The
So
Muslim family.
When you hurt a Rasta man, you talking about your uncle, your brother, your cousin, your someone that is close to you. So at the end of the day, my Lord, you see, for us to progress as a nation of people, especially in the Caribbean region, and as a Rastafari, as a man who actually went through the system and never bowed. I went to university, and I'm a Bobo Shandin, I never write an exam on Sabbath, I never do that. I just say, man, it's my Sabbath and thing I'm writing. I'm not supposed to use pen. So I always know myself as a godman because I follow the example of the Emperor Haile Selassie I. Because that war has been won for us long time by His Imperial Majesty. So at the end of the day, when it comes tonight, the Justice and Healing Initiative is going to be a comprehensive initiative that actually ranges from South America all the way up to the North America, right? That is within what they call the Caribbean region. Because first and foremost, first love is self-love. So we are going to focus on ourselves as a region of Rastafari. Yeah. And then identify the countries where serious atrocities have been perpetuated. Go in, videograph it, bring the truth to the people. So we're going to need hashtags like, I didn't know. Because every young person you tell that to, they say, but priest, I didn't know that. I never knew that Rastaman could not go to Tortola or Rasta could not go to Dominica. You couldn't go to, in 1980, you couldn't go to Tortola. They go and perform Tortola. When you get to the airport, they send you back. Who? Chronixx? Who's Chronixx? No. You understand? There's people that's how it was. So at the end of the day, all that glory is not a sad story, It's the glory of Rastafari. It is the things that we have actually gone through. We have been victorious in it. We have been victors, but look at myself. I'm good, my Lord.
Right? Honorable Priest, make the people see the place. I was here in St. Lucia some weeks ago for the Rising of the God retreat with the Honorable Priest Kailash, the Honorable Priest Westmore, the Honorable Ras Wayne, Honorable Jelani, and we did have a brother them from the Nation of Islam, Honorable Riza Islam, and Hot Hands and all of them youth, and we're bridging them from Canada, we're bridging them from Jamaica. This is the all of who I watch take note, All of who I watch take note, This is a spring where it come from out of the honorable priest meditation bring forth them spring there and as you can see the pyramid around there. You talk about Rastafari architecture, which is a living manifestation of the R, and of righteousness. So this is the Mount Kailash rejuvenation. Tell the people them what them just say, Honorable.
Well, I mean, definitely. Let me just show you the kitchen because Rastafari livity is the ancient livity, you know. So it's the ancient and modern. So the same way you have your conventional, you know, stove and thing, the same way you have our, you know, yaba pot and wood fire and, you know, that is the gully roots and wood fire oven and you understand. So steamers, you know, so when you come in, you could, you know, get your steaming and things. So the Mon Kailash Rejuvenation Center was created out of the principles of Rastafari livity. You know, I went to medical school and I really couldn't see anything that they taught me that could have helped my people. You know, so I am what you call a dropout. So when I had to go and do my licensing exams and they say, well, please, boy, I take 16 vaccines and so on and so on and so on and so on. I say, but wait, no, everything I learned at medical school, there was nothing that I learned to say, well, that can help someone, you know, and I was very intrigued by the science because I do believe as Rastafari, I do understand nanotechnology, you know, and I do believe that we are in the technological space whereby we can utilize nanotechnology as a science to create nanobots, right? Nanobots. It could be biological nanobots or even synthetic nanobots that could that can travel through your bloodstream. You know, go to a specific organ and then remove a particular tumor, cut it out, or go to it and then just drop in some THC or some CDB or something specifically, carry it into a little pouch, whatever little quantity and go through and control it and say, yeah, you see, going through that and then drop tips. Okay, right there, you know what I'm saying? So these things there are possibilities that we now as a people could have had already accomplished, knowing that the Rastafari community was given that opportunity to education because you will never get an opportunity to education. They never allow us to go into schools. I was the only Rastafari in my whole university and around plenty of white people and all different type of people. But I was the only man for Krong, you know, and I had to stand up. Sometimes I was the only man passing an exam, especially biochemistry. Yeah, man, I love biochemistry and thing. And, you know, plenty of dead bodies we cut and, you know, and plenty of brains and legs and arms and, you know, imagine you're a father and then you have to go and do an autopsy and you have to cut probably a child die at 6 months and you have to cut open and then you have to look at how people deal with the cadaver. You understand? So as a Rastafari, I suffered that to a point where then I said, well, I'm not going to any more autopsies again, man. As a priest, you're not supposed to see no dead man. You know, so I had stopped. And I still passed my exam. I'll give you that story, that glory some other time, man. But the Mon Kailash Rejuvenation Center was created out of knowing that there is nothing really established for people who want to actually come into a place to heal because where most people die is at the hospital. Right? So the hospital is, I mean, you have no windows. I mean, it smells like disinfectant, you know, and you lie on a bed and somebody else lie next to you and they die. You know, and you have no fresh air. You don't hear the birds. You don't see the bees. You don't see any butterflies. Mon Kailash Rejuvenation Center was placed in the mountains because to heal you need fresh air, you need fresh water, you need peace and quiet. You need to hear like the songs of the night. You need to hear the songs of the wind. You understand that? So you need to be in a room where you could just open up your door and then you don't need to close it in the night. You feel free. You need to eat food that's grown right from the area. So when you have to make a salad, you know, and they could just walk down and take the things and make a salad that is actually in tune with your system because you are sharing that same space. So Mon Kailash Rejuvenation Center, for now, as we have a big structure at the top coming up, for now, we deal with that aspect of that herbal healing. In the future, left unmolested for 50 years, we'll be able to grow back legs and arms and them type of things there. Just give the Rastafari 50 years unmolested, right?
Yeah,
We will be able to grow back arms and legs, you know, and make teeth grow back and make the blind see.
Neural pathways and them things there.
Yeah, man. So
give people access to the new parts of them brain where them couldn't use before.
You know, people believe that Rasta man is just like a backward thinking, and they don't understand that what the emperor stand for is education and upliftment, and use education for the upliftment of mankind. So you could imagine that.
Where Marcus Garvey stand for, which is the same scientific progress. Scientific progress. We are a people. We can't be a people without your own scientific progress. You know what I mean? Like and Rastaman been a push for that. Like we say, yo, we live in the perfect setting for this. To advance science in a way that they can't advance it in New York. They can't advance it in Los Angeles like this. You get me? It's just a different place. The Rastaman been calling for that. And now me hear someone from the PMP, I say, them want start conversations about Jamaica becoming one of them places where people come for go hospital. You get me? Yeah, we still have them talk there make now, and Jamaican people even salute it and saying, yes, it's a good thing. But at the same time, you know, I still feel like that's in the past, like that's 1975, when you come to a different country to go to a hospital. It's like what we need is for people to heal and to benefit from what we have as spiritual and scientific knowledge that come down to us through our fathers and people being very serious and vigilant. Why we even have some of them information here still, you know? And even some of the ones them as like the ones who got through the medical thing and got through the academic thing to get to a point where you can affirm your credibility and make anyone know, say anyone, you know. And is a lot of ones like that we have within the thing, which is scientists, and we have to big up all our brethren who are scientists and economists and go and prove themselves academically, just so that anyone, you know, because over the years we find that our fathers were denied them legitimacy in on the topic of healing and therapy and all of these things and medicine. You know what I mean? Them get denied them legitimacy, and you know them call them all different type of thing, which and all different type of thing, and them call them all different type of thing, man.
They still call and them same thing, you know. They still.
You know what I mean? So it's like we give thanks to the eye, them man. Honorable the eye, them can't say that about the eye, because unless them no see the thing for real. But when you see the thing, there's a very advanced scientific ecosystem where it's just proof. It's just proof of how you can have an ecosystem that sustains health and rejuvenation and people feel it. I tell you, I experienced that. So you know what I mean? I experienced that, and whole heap of ones experienced that. Like, you know what I mean? Credible ones, you know?
True, man. Remember,
Yes,
you know, remember that it's a work of Christ. See, like when the emperor, you know, 1974. You understand? So, it no matter, our credibility is not for these people to tell you whether you are credible or not, because at the end of the day, what happens is that they still crucify Christ, you know. Right? And nobody jumped for a bullet for Martin Luther King. You know, right now they are a big holiday. You know, Malcolm X, none of the people that jump for a bullet or jump and take a bullet. You know, so plenty people are indeed followers, man. They're not like people are there with you, they just follow you.
yes,
So
yes,
you are the front, so you get the bullet. So at the end of the day, our credibility, I mean, in St. Lucia, you know, for about a whole term, I was the personal attendant to the Prime Minister. You know, my restaurant fed him 3 times a day. You know, and there are testimonies and all type of things when it comes to them levels of them type of things that do. So if it is that we have to look for accreditation because them things they still don't matter. Because they just cut a sister here in Jamaica, 19 years. Some Rasta youth was just hanged in a cell in St. Lucia some time ago. Police just hung up the youth. The youth called Shakadan. You understand, a couple of years ago. Inquiry, and and the man go in the cell, and they just hang the man in the cell. So at the end of the day, even if I as an individual probably can go through an airport and get a little bit, oh, Priscilla, how you doing? And thing. But when next Rasta man comes, it's trouble. Because when you travel, you see how, if you go to the Bahamas, they have two lines, They have two lines. So time I go to the Bahamas and I see all the Caucasians going through a line and they're not even opening their bag. So I say, well, I'm not a Bahamian. I'm gonna go in that line. So I took my suitcase and I go in that same line. So when I reach the immigration man stop me and tell me, but I tell him, brethren, you never stop none of them people there, sir. That's the non-stopping line. I'm not Bahamian, so what is the difference between me and them?
Yeah.
You have to make me go still, because at the end of the day, right? That is the level of respect when we, as universally, as Rastafari, I'm not talking about any other set of people, just as Rastafari, checking our own business. Universally, as Rastafari, when we are a sovereign nation, as I say, right? A sovereign being, that we could be recognized, that they know, well, if they touch one over, it could be in wherever, the Antarctic or wherever, and something happen, and then a strand of your locks fall off, and think somebody have to be held accountable. So phone calls made already, apologies written, and people get punished already, and then councils being called into order, and these type of things. That's the levels of reverence that the Rastafari demands, right? And it's not something that we are begging for. It is something that we deserve. Now, if it is that our brothers and sisters and our uncles and our aunties refuse to give it, just give it up and say, yes, that's true, man. I remember they did these things, right? Then we would be forced to actually go through the legal route, whereby legally we are going to hold them accountable for attempted genocide of a people, right? Then, after that now still, because remember, right, that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. So if they had still had, then the 21 days of Nyabingi, because in St. Lucia up in Mount Kailash, we're going to have 21 lights of ceaseless Nyabingi, which is Rastafari anthem, the music of Rastafari, 8-ohm drum song. We're not putting down the guitar and the piano, but we're still putting down the guitar and the piano. We're talking about the songs of warfare. The conch shell to blow the hour of prayer, right? And then the drums, the 8-ohm song. And you know what Rastafari did? I'll give you a little science before we close off. When Rastafari call in a bingi, that means that, let's say, you have 3 instruments. You have the kete, which is the fast one. It's a fast drum. So that is what they call a meditation. Then you have the 1-2, the funde, which is basically the heart rhythm, which is 1-2, lub dub, lub dub, lub dub, which is the heart rhythm. Then you have the bass drum, which is the thunder, which is the breathing. Doom, doop, doom, doop. So you have these 3 instruments that come together to create that kind of a sound, which is like a physical structure. And then you have the congregation. All of us have hearts, and since it is going in the same 8-ohm rhythm, all of our hearts going to get to that same beat with the drum in synchronicity. Everyone's heart in that spot going to be beating at the same rate, at the same pace, within the same 1-2. Everyone's breath is going to be the same breath. Mandatory, because all of us going to be singing the same song. Right? So if you're singing trust and obey, right? Everyone's saying trust and obey. For there is no other way to be happy in niggas but to trust and obey. Now that means that we are breathing in together. We are breathing out together. Because we are singing to the same air, to the same tune, and the drum going to the same rhythm, and we're saying the same thing. Jah, Rastafari, and we're calling for justice and healing. 21 days, non-stop. Right. So this is the ultimate weapon. Right. The man say, one to Nabingi.
What chance are we giving? Are we gonna give them any chance before we make it get to that? Cause
chance,
yeah,
I mean chance like Lotto.
Our opportunity.
Yeah, but I mean at the end of the day, remember, you know, Nabingi order is life for the righteous and death to the wicked, you know. So
yes, right.
The drum song is going to shift the genetic material, the DNA, because remember it's vibration, and your genetic material is in the shape of what you call chromosomes, and then they say, well, it is a bihelix, 2 helix, 5 prime, 3 prime, right? Infinite, right? That this is a double helix structure, but we know that number one, that we don't operate like that. It's either a trinity, right? Either a 5, either a 7, either a 9. And if anything higher than that, you have to go to a 13. You check what I'm telling you? So the DNA material, because of the vibrations of the drum song, is going to shift and remove the mutated genetic material through the vibrations and bring forth the man and the woman into the forward God self and Goddess self. So when you say lightning walk the earth like a living man, the lightning walk, you know? And you say, you know, life and peace and blessings forevermore. Life and peace and blessings forevermore. So the righteous, right, definitely will get rewarded, you know, and it's simple, man, because people come and get healed. You know, the music is a healing, right?
Yes,
But
for sure.
at the end of the day, you know, there will be a judgment. But people do have ample opportunity, my Lord, because the man say, you know, that they have had over so many years. And in Jamaica, of all places, Mecca, the Mecca of Rastafari, 2021, they still cutting off the locks of a princess. You understand? So how much more opportunity do they need? So it's going to be 21 nights, and what we are going to be offering full accommodation for people. You know, it's not like you have to come and you have to pay. One Kailash Rejuvenation Center is going to be the place that's going to be the center whereby people, you know, people come in, and then we set up ourselves, and then we chant Nayabingi, you know, and we come in peace and love and healing. Because if you're sick and whatever disease you have to, not like you just come in. And when I say justice and healing, that means that none of our elders who are not well, you know, have a problem and thing, you know, they could come in and sit in and get served to, you know, get some nice food, get, you know, some nice herbs, some nice green juice. You understand, my Lord?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, so it's a blessing, man. So people have plenty chance.
Yeah, man, we give thanks, man. Yeah, we give thanks every time, man. We give thanks. We give thanks. Why you bless the people in the mighty name?
In the chat.
Yes, sir.
Well, give thanks. I mean, definitely, my Lord. I give thanks for all your people who are following you, you know. And I give thanks for all those people who send in their hearts of love. And I would urge them not to just follow, but to walk with, you know. And as I say, you know, it's not about likes, you know. You know, not about how many likes you have, you know. So we could really shift the whole vibes, you know, and be good people, because the followers have an opportunity to greatness, you know. They have an opportunity, because no set of followers really stand up for the person that they following in history, to the extent that they stand up with them, like something happened to that person and all the followers. See, we have 1,000 and so people. let's say they hear, well, probably police come and they was passing and they rob on the honorable there. So next 2 days, you see 1,000 people land in Jamaica and say, or wherever there are 1,000 people come and they walk with. So the followers have an opportunity in creation to actually give back to the people that give to them, because people like I and I, truthfully, like I, Priest Kailash, my whole youth has been to my work. Like, I don't really know, like, as if you kind of youth where a man have a time to go and sit down by the road and chat and them type of things. I see me, I get gray in about a year, and I just check and I see, but I gray. How I get so many grays? Last year I get gray in a fire.
Yeah.
In a year. Because we get up 2 o'clock every morning and, you know, and to the works. You know, so people like I and I, you know, and the I, you know, and I just like to, you know, to just send love to the I still as a youthful energy in creation, you know, and send prayers and blessings to the I, you know, and just that the Father could have opened your eyes so you could have see the angels that stand. You're talking about real, the terrible, you know, fire marshals that stand along the eye all the time to protect and keep the eye safe, you know, from the forces of iniquity and evil, you know, because it's not by our own strength that we still here, you know, but by the strength and the grace of the Creator. You understand? So it is not for a man to raise a finger and touch any of the chosen of the Almighty, you know. Not for a man to do that. It's only when the Almighty will, right? So when the work fulfilled, and you say it is fulfilled and thing, that is when that the Creator, the God that we praise, you know, ever living I, Emperor Haile Selassie, I, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, no King Emmanuel, Charles Edward, Empress Menen, Idi Amin Dada, you know, the gods we praise, you know, the ancients, the people we praise and we honor and we worship, you know, the ancestors. So when you say the spirit of the ancestors, it's not no abracadabra and kazam and thing, you know. The ancestors are there, you know, and they are there at our beckon and our call. And I pray that the spirit of the ancestors, you know, be with the eye as the eyes are you who have kept, you know, a clean message, you know, and I applaud that. And, you know, sometimes, as I say it, I feel it. When you feel it through your heartstrings, your eyes almost get watery because it's the truth, because your heart feels it, and then you could feel like the love for the work and the love for the people that I could persist and continue, you know, and don't bow, you know, because I myself as a youth man and thing, I could have been the top surgeon in the world. You know, I choose to trod the path less trod by, which is the Rastafari path, you know. And I choose to maintain it into a principle, you know, and when I tell people certain things they don't believe and they find it's hard. But everything that I want in my life to attain, I want to attain it as a Rastafari. I want to attain it with a clean hand and a pure heart to know, well, I never see cocaine in my life. You know, I never smell crack. You know, I never go and steal nobody thing. Never go and do nothing illegal, go and sign some paper and launder some money or do something. But my labors and my riches and my wealth is attained through righteous work and righteous labor and for the upliftment of mankind. The ultimate objective of MKRC, Mon Kailash Rejuvenation Center, my Lord, is to offer free healthcare, you know, right? Is that people can come to this space without paying, you know. You understand? So our ultimate objective is to know that whether someone live or die is not determined by the amount of money that they have, but by the fact that there are spaces
Yeah.
Rastafari,
Yeah.
where people could come in. So is there any elder, any Rastafari elder, right, first and foremost, who's not well and I can afford and they can reach in St. Lucia, and sometimes you could even help them to reach and think? To be my honor and privilege to offer my services and the services of my team. There's not Priest Kailash alone, you know, there's a team of people that work together to make it happen.
Tell them how much people, man.
Well, we have about 40-something employees, you know, and you know, but we have a core of about 7 people core, but we have about 40-something employees, and you know, and we do operate in that capacity. But at the end of the day, you know, you welcome my elders and thing, you know, and if we could assist the I and thing, it will be my pleasure and my privilege, right, to be able to feed an elder and take care of an elder and to see a man come with a probably a catheter because they have prostate problem and put him on a regime and see after 7 or 14 days he could take off his catheter and he could hold his penis and pee. That's my ultimate joy, you know. So I give thanks again for all the elders before me who actually went through and suffer tribulation. I go for my own thing already. You understand? But not like what they went through. You understand? They actually built a foundation for me. So I, as a Rastafari, you know, elder and youth, because I'm 43 years old, you know, I could tell you my age and I'm too high really. I'm a 43-year-old man. I was born 1977, the 9th of October. You know, I am not too high. I mean, you have to search that. What you want to know? Our police record? I was arrested a couple of times for cannabis, you know, and for some other little, you know, and thing. But I don't have no record. I have a clean sheet, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, my heart is a heart of love, and I send peace to the eye, my Lord, and prosperity within thy walls, you know, and give thanks that you allow me into your living space. 'Cause every time you do a live, you allow people into your living space, you know.
Yeah, man. Yo, right now, I want to play the people them some music.
Love, man.
Some Naya Bingi.
Give thanks for the love, my Lord. Cut and clear. Love to the eye and to the
Right.
whole black family. Love, give thanks. Honorable.
Yeah, man. Yo, let me turn on about this. Yo. Yo. Big respect to all of the people I'm seeing. Yeah, man. Love every time, you see me? Yeah, man. Mad thing, yeah. Mad thing. Big up Dirty Book, man. See me? Big up all of the people them who did I watch. Seeing. Yo, Popcorn. My God. Rate in a youth. I tell you that. You see me? Radiant Sun, bless up. See Roots Percussionist. Love to the massive. You see me? Jati Junior, my brethren from long time. Yo, Roots, I don't know. Love you in a youth. You're a top youth here. Remember me tell you that. Top talent. You see me? I want the whole of the eye them forward together and take on the problems of the Jamaican people. You see me? Yeah, we have to do that. Take it up in our own hand. You see me? Take on the little parish them, take on the little place them and try help the youth them get into some universities all over the world. You see me? We have to try all the way. Have to have a little youth them where we help to get into the universities them around the world and can bring back some value in the country and some scientific innovation because that we need. Even our artists them right now, the eye Popcorn and the whole of the eye them is billionaire. It's just true we're lacking certain scientifical mind and some technological mind. We don't have no Caribbean tech. We don't have no Silicon Valley. For we, because we would have an app them, we would have our own streaming. We would have to collect money on our phone every day. The whole of around us will be billionaire. May I tell you that? In our own little right. You see me? So, make we get the youth them in some university and get the elder them some care and take care of them so nobody can look down upon we and treat we like, ooh, Rasta. And all of the artists them are Rasta. Let me telling you that. The whole of the man them are Rasta, not because the man them are not perfect, but the man them not depend on a joke thing, brother. Even some of the man them in America, me I tell you, I'm a brethren them, man. The whole of the man them love his majesty and love the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And we love them man that are elder. We rate how the man talk. And we rate how the man act. And we rate how the people them. You see me? So, yeah. And now that's who we is. So if you depend the thing and I listen to music and you love the music, then you have to love the man them and the woman them. And love the sister them. You see how the sister them take over the thing? You think a joke thing? Is I show the whole of a sign. Say. And then a joke thing I go on. And them have the voice. and them have the real voice of truth. But when them talk, it makes sense because them are no rapists. And because them are no rapists and them are no murderer, them have a cleaner conscience than some of we as man. You see me? Them have a cleaner conscience. So when them talk, people feel it. When the sister in them, in the year when the sister in them sing, people feel it in them heart because them know say, oh, I true the sister talk. You see me? So when we see all the sister them, I get big and I get big and I get big and I get big. We should just support that and stand back and watch that. You see me? And stand side of them. Stand side of them and watch that. You see me? You wanna stop ask bad man about vaccine. To hold on. You see me? Got check the honorable priest. The man just come on and I show you say the man got through medical thing. When you know where Rasta stand for already. Them thing there and that we are talking about with sovereignty. You see me? And we right for say what we want to take and what we don't want to take. That we want. When I talk about that, me and a scientist. You see me? Me and a scientist. Me is a scientist. You see me? When you don't know Rasta man stand for already, we not deal with certain liberty brethren. And that are because we're sovereign why we can say that. You see me? We say what we want. You see me? Because we have a scientists them. Look how much scientists we have as African. So what? I must listen to our next scientist more than my own scientist? No, I'm never gonna do that. Never ever gonna do that. Not until my scientist is proven wrong. Then we know say, alright, well, let me hear what the German scientist I said then. You see me? And yeah, but our scientists them been right, man. Them been right about marijuana. Them been right about acupuncture. Them been right about massage therapy. Them been right about the overall levity. Them been right. You see me? And they are peaceful on top of it, on top of being right. They are peaceful. So it shows say, why should I not follow someone like that? You see me? Why should I listen to a next man who is known for war and genocide and over my people? Never. It's never gonna happen. That never gonna happen. You see me? You're never gonna see that. You see me? So remember, say I love every time. See? And I just the chanting of the bingy, you know. Yeah. Big respect. Big respect to the ones, you see him? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Every time. Big up Dirty Book, man. We are close out, you know. Forward out, you know. See? Because I whole heap of house work. I be a house work, me do a daytime, you know, people. So when you know, see, no album and them thing, they just know, say, house work is a must. Which part you have to make sure you say, first place where you live is in yourself. So that is the major housework where me have to do a daytime. See? I'm not put music industry over that. Never. You see me? Teeth have to brush properly, have to beard. You see me? You have to make sure you say you're up. You see me? Take care of your house where you live in and make sure say you're happy say you're in that house here forever. See? And then now you have your next house now where you can share with someone else. You see me? And you have to do the same thing for that house there too. You see me? And then now we have the big musical family of the world now. That is our next house. We have to make sure say that house they up. So I don't really think of the thing as I and with fans and all of them things. I more say the thing as a house. Like how the Rasta man talk about mansion. You know? It's just really, you know, we are one one mansion and one house. I see up and now with some I know business where them feel like say, no, where them want tell we about Jesus say, them set us afar and if he ease, settle when the conquering lion and make us reach them friend. Always make it seem like it's the edge of government and know them around the world. The high priest them wet, live in the mountain and only feed palm bread. Only the lesson where mother nature teach them, On with the sound, Chronixx son, where them get you from? Ready for them, magnificent the sun I put on. 1791, man and two sons. 1865 in a the bush on. Sharpless and a rifle, bogle dance. Can't copy my style to all me one. Never use my talent for this, me contemporaries. Yet we free up or chain them by any means necessary. Show the ghetto youth them all that we are visionary, yo. Tell them again, even though me tell them already. Total destruction and Babylon I go bury. And feed them ending up for we preliminary. So like the chalice God, not the feeling there. Like the